So the Nets versus Clippers. It was one of the most anticipated games of the year going in, and I would say it lived up to the hype. It was a really good game, and I'm just gonna go over some of my thoughts and reaction to the game. So starting with the starting lineups, the Clippers, Patrick Beverley was out, so they went with a starting lineup of Reggie Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Nick Batum, and Serge Ibaka, whereas the Nets went with Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, and Jeff Green at center instead of DeAndre Jordan. I thought that was pretty interesting, but I'll tell you the reason why. The reason why is because the Nets early on in the first were just switching everything on defense. I wondered who would guard Kawhi in the pregame, and they started with Durant on him, but oftentimes the Clippers were just setting a screen and forcing the switch mainly onto Kyrie Irving, and that was a lot of the Clippers' first quarter offense. It was them forcing the switch of Kyrie Irving onto Kawhi, and then Kawhi posting up on Kyrie, and that led to a first quarter lead, and it was going really well. Kawhi was getting easy buckets inside on Kyrie, or the Nets were bringing a double, and Kawhi was making the smart pass, and the Clippers were getting open threes. Nick Batum benefited quite a bit from that, and that was really good offense for the Clippers and let them open up a bit of a first quarter lead. But the Nets got back in the game, and Kawhi was also getting to the line on a few of those situations, drawing contact and things like that. So that's good, efficient basketball right there. And Kawhi was really, really good tonight. When he gets to the elbow, it's almost unstoppable. Like when he's in the mid-range area with a dribble, because he can post up, he can get to the rim, he can just shoot over you, and it's really, really hard to defend that. So Kawhi was really good tonight. But then the Nets sort of came back to make it a close one before halftime. Harden plus bench was a great lineup, and Harden was playmaking a lot with that lineup. He racked up 14 assists tonight, and a lot of that came when he was running with the bench. He was throwing lots of lobs to DeAndre Jordan, which was nice to see. Those were good plays. And then in response to that, Nick Batum started trying to deny Harden the ball, just play 4-on-4, and to get him out of a rhythm and to stop him from playmaking with the bench. And this was just a really good game. The first half was a great half. It was a close half, and there's great talent on display, especially players playing one-on-one and players in transition. That's where a lot of baskets came, and it was great to watch. And these are two very good teams. So that was a lot. And then the second half was more individual play. Kyrie Irving started to heat up, and man, he is so skilled. Shooting from three in isolation. He does that thing where he gets inside, but then he pulls up right before he gets to the rim, and he fades away and creates space, and it's almost impossible. But then he can also finish at the rim, and he does those Euro steps and reverse layups, and he's so skilled both with the dribbles and the finishing inside. But then Paul George, he was up and down in this game. When he's on, he's so smooth. Like he had a step back three, so nice, just clean, no rim at all. Nothing the defense can do about that. But then sometimes it looked like he was forcing the issue a little bit, not really playing well within the Clippers offense, and just going to the rim, and just forcing it up at the rim and looking for contact instead of trying to get the ball in the basket and and like either kicking it out or just playing more within the team and with the team. And I think that hurt the Clippers a little bit, and he ended up with a decent amount of points, but he wasn't very efficient, and that certainly cost the Clippers. And also just Kawhi, just so good. In the second half, he continued to be great. Just in the mid-range, in the post, on defense, he ended up with 4 steals tonight. When he's on, Kawhi may be the best player in the NBA. I don't think he is. I think LeBron's better, but I think he definitely has a case for second. And he was really good tonight. And then as the game wore on in the third quarter, the Nets defense got tougher. They were less willing to give up switches to Kawhi and more trying to guard him one-on-one. they're hedging a bit on the pick and roll with Kawhi, just trying not to let him get an easy mismatch in the post, and that worked a little bit. And then, but in response to that, the Clippers were taking advantage of that and moving the ball well, and the ball movement was looking good. Okay, so now we get to really when it came down to it, it was 90-89 heading into the fourth, and then 102-102 with about 5-6 minutes left, and then Kyrie just continued to take over. Kyrie is so good, man. Like he's almost unstoppable when he's on, and tonight he was on. And the Nets were running with their starters, and the Clippers were running a bit of a small lineup. It was Kawhi and PG, but then it was Reggie Jackson, Batum, and Morris. So no Ibaka in there or Zubac. Zubac didn't really play much in this game. And in the fourth, this is when it really came down to it, and the Nets went on a big run. I think it was a 13-0 run to go from, I think it was like 102-97 to 110-97. No, 110-102. So a big run there, taking the lead back. There was like 10 lead changes in this game, and that was because of Kyrie just going off. He could not be stopped. And it was also just the Nets hitting threes. I know Harden got fouled on a three and hit a few, and then Kevin Durant hit a pull-up three. He was hitting some mid-rangers too, and that really blew the game open, and really what won them the game. And they just looked unstoppable in this game. They're locking up defensively. Harden's post defense, he is criticized as a defender, and it's improved a bit, but he still has a tendency to fall asleep. But when he's engaged and when he's in the post, he is tough to move. He is like a brick wall, man. Kawhi was trying to post up on him a few times. Even Ibaka was trying to post up on him, and just no success. Harden, he just takes the contact, and it's like nothing happened. So we'll have to see with that. But Harden was playing great post defense in this game, for what that's worth. But yeah, the Nets went on that run with Irving and the threes and the defense, and this is what really when the Nets are at the best, when they're engaged defensively, and then just the incredible individual talent. You assume one of the big three is going to go off. Tonight it was Kyrie. Harden and KD didn't have bad games, but Kyrie really stepped up. 39 points, 6 for 8 from 3. A couple of threes were tough, but a couple of the threes were just like transition and high pick and roll, and I feel like the Clippers could have done a bit more to prevent him from shooting those, because they're too easy for him, especially when he was hot like that. Can't let him have that. So that was a lot of what went wrong for the Clippers, just letting Kyrie. But again, against the Nets, it's pick your poison. It's either Kyrie or Durant or Harden or an open three for Joe Harris. What can you do about that? And it was really tough. So just that's sort of what really won them the game. The Nets just tough. Their tough shot making is so good. Even if you play good defense and you force them into a tough shot, they're so talented that they can make it, and that's really hard to defend, and there's not really much you can do. So that run for the Nets pretty much sealed it. Paul George cut the lead with a three, but then it was just foul, free throws, and the Nets ended up winning it 124-120. So just a great game overall, a really close game, but Kyrie, 39 points, he really got done for the Nets today. That and the net shot making. The Clippers weren't bad, but the Nets just made so many great shots. Some standout performances. Batum was 21 points and 6 boards. He was great, as well as playing some good defense. And then Kawhi with 33 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds, as well as 4 steals. That's an insane stat line, and he was really carrying the Clippers for stretches. And for the Nets, the big three, Harden, 23 points, 11 boards, 14 assists. That's a triple-double. Great playmaking. Kevin Durant, 28 and 9. He didn't have a great game, but he still ended up with 29 points and 9 rebounds. So that's just what the Nets can do to you. And then Kyrie Irving, the best player on the floor tonight, 39 points, 6 for 8 from deep, and a good win for the Nets. The Clippers didn't play bad, but the Nets are really good, and their tough shot making as well as Kyrie Irving won them the game 124-120. Anyways, that's the end of this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.